Hello and welcome back. I am Pamela and I am sharing my life in my corner living rural over 50 and optimizing life to just absolutely squeeze out the best possible life that I can live. And I know that you're here because you're interested in doing the same thing. So today I thought I would do a walk and talk. And I am going out on my own property where we have over 50 acres that borders BLM land. So it is, as you can see, incredibly beautiful. Lots of big wide open space, and I just love living in the Southwest. I love the ruggedness of it. I love the feeling of having a lot of space around. I am an introvert, so that works really well for me. It may not be for everybody, but it works well for me. And so I'm going for a walk, like I said, and wanted to do a check-in today because it is Monday. The last check-in I did was last Monday, a week ago, and it is time for me to kind of give a progress report on my workouts. So I have completed my 3 big workouts for the week. Again, I did the Brett Contreras Glute Lab workout samples, but I have added in a few things because, to be honest, 7 exercises in a session just is not enough for me. I love it. I love the feeling of being strong and working out and doing different types of movements besides just weightlifting. So I'll tell you what I did. Yesterday was my heavy day, and I had to kind of switch around my schedule. I'm going to turn the camera on because this is my trail down to my seating area that my husband and I created to have a nice quiet nook to come and sit, talk, read, think, whatever it is. So here's our little sitting area underneath this big, beautiful old juniper tree, and because of the sun you can't quite see it, but this big beautiful pine tree that gives it shade. So this is a great spot for me to sit down and chat with you. Okay, so here we are again. I'm trying to get out of the sun. There. Okay, so as I was saying, this past week has been a little harder to get my workouts in, but I try to make sure that even if I'm traveling, which I was this past week, that I'm still hitting some kind of workouts. I try to even choose places to stay where there's a gym and I can get something done with some weights, and I can either use a treadmill or I can get out and walk depending on the weather. So this past week we were in Albuquerque for a medical appointment for my husband, and because we live 3 hours away, we make overnight stays of it. So we stayed 2 nights. We drove up Tuesday, stayed Wednesday, and drove home Thursday. So I got a ton of steps in though. We stayed at a hotel called the El Vado Motor Inn. It's on Route 66. It's an old motor inn from Aragon past that has been renovated, and it's kind of quirky but really cute, really neat place to stay. And unfortunately this past time was a little less than up to par. So we've stayed there now about 3 times, and each time it's kind of gone downhill a little bit. However, there's a couple of perks to staying there. One, it's really close to some really neat walking distance coffee shops and downtown area that is that typical area where you can walk around and see some really neat and the home style shops, personally owned. And I walked up to a coffee shop for breakfast, which was about 3/4 of a mile away. So it was a good little walk. And then I got a chai spice with extra spice added to it, tea with my non-dairy milk, and a savory croissant, which was delicious. And it was a nice little treat. I don't get to eat those very often. But when I'm out and I see them and they're made fresh, it's hard to resist. So that was my kind of little treat. I only ate about 2 meals a day while I was gone, which is typically what I do anyway, 2 meals and maybe an extra snack. And that helps me to maintain the weight while I am away, even though I will often tend to put on about a pound or two. I know that it's mostly like water weight and it will come right back off. So that has sort of been that fluctuation with my weight. I am up a little bit. However, I was really proud of this. I averaged 12,000 steps a day plus every day. And I also did some running while I was away. So I got at least 3 days of running in. And so I got at least 3 days of running in, and it felt really good. It feels good. My strength is coming up every week. I am still increasing. So I did heavy squats yesterday, sumo deadlifts, hip thrusts, and chin-ups for some of my calisthenic style workouts. I am still working up to a body weight chin up. I've never in my life done a body weight chin up. So that is one of my goals, is to get strong in that area. And my muscle mass is coming up according to my Garmin scale. I weighed this morning and I am up to 45.1 pounds of muscle mass. So for me, that is a really sweet improvement. And if I look at it over the past year, I am seeing progress. It's slow, but it's coming along. And honestly, I love working out. So it wouldn't matter if I made progress or not. I am still going to get in there. I'm still going to lift weights. I'm going to strengthen my bones. I'm going to keep my muscles as strong as I can. I can tell you what, I can tell a huge difference in some of my everyday activities. So going back to 2022, when I had my accident and I broke my shoulder, I was immobilized. I had surgery to put it all back together. I have a plate and I have false ligaments in there, and I had to go through 6 months of physical therapy, which barely got me back to functioning as a human being. And I lost so much strength during that time, and just overall body strength too, not just I'm trying to find a good angle. I think I'm gonna have to turn like this. Okay. So not only did I lose strength in that arm and shoulder, but I lost just overall body strength, being able to get up off the floor, which I am a floor sitter. If I'm going to be sitting down most of the time, my habit has always been to plop down on the floor, maybe stretch while I'm sitting there, and always be doing something. I'm one of those high energy, fidgety kind of people. I've become so much more sedentary though after moving rural, and that has been one of my biggest challenges to overcome, because I don't have somewhere to always be on the go to like I did when I lived in the Tucson area or other big cities that I had always lived in. And now I have a house with lots of acres and I get out and I hike, but then I'm back home in my house, and it has become way too easy, especially after that accident, to become very sedentary and sit in my chair, put my feet up, get some rest. It was very important for me to prioritize rest. And so that is what I did. And in the meantime, I deconditioned. And so my two primary goals have been to get strong. And I think a popular term right now is functional fitness. And some people don't like that term, but I do, because after going through physical therapy to get myself functioning again, that is very important to me, to be able to push myself off the floor and do it with strength and a spring in my step, and be able to hop off the floor and walk off without a second thought as to how hard that was for me, and being out of breath because it was so challenging for me just to lift my body weight up off of the floor and stand up. So that functional fitness component is very important to me. And I would imagine anybody out there who has been through a situation where you had to gain back your functionality, that you can understand exactly where I'm coming from on that. So I can tell, since doing my squats and coming up in weight, my hip thrusts, the deadlifts, and those things that have not been my typical go-to moves in the gym over the decades of my life, have really contributed to putting a lot of spring back into my step and being able to do so many things. It's just incredible. So like I said, I still have that goal of doing a chin up, body weight only, and every week I am pulling that pin up to the next weight that gives you that counter leverage to offset your weight, and it's coming up, which means I am putting more weight on myself in doing those, and I'm really working on the eccentric part of the movement to build the strength and build the muscle. So that's something, if you're not familiar with, that's one way to get over those plateaus, is to work on the eccentric stage of the movement and go very slow. That will build up that strength so that your concentric, your contraction side of the exercise becomes stronger. So that's where I am with all of that. Yesterday, not only did I lift heavy, I did a 10-minute warm-up on the Stairmaster, and I'm old school. I like doing warm-ups before I hit the weights. I don't want to hurt my muscles. I like waking up. I like the feeling of waking up my body. I feel like it wakes up my brain. I feel like it wakes up my cardiovascular system. My lungs are open, and I am in the zone and ready to go hit the weights. So I do the warm-ups, and about 10 minutes is kind of my shortest preferred time. Sometimes I will do a full 30 minutes or even more, depending on what I'm prioritizing in that segment of my workout journey. So I have actually recently just flipped to focusing on bringing my running back up. So while I'm bringing up my strength, and I've been working on this for a few months now, and it's coming along very nicely, my VO2 Max has decreased. And I am not happy with that, because part of my goal is also to have my VO2 Max increase. I want to be aerobically fit as well. So I have been doing a lot more interval trainings and long slow distance training. And this goes back to my years as a runner, where I would basically do like an interval workout, a tempo workout, and a long slow distance on the weekend. And that was the basis of my running training program. So I'm incorporating that back. And right now I'm giving it a little bit more attention. So I may prioritize that at the beginning of my workout before I do the weights. Not on a heavy lift day though. If I'm going to be lifting heavy, I'm going to just warm up my body, and then I'm going to devote my energy, reserves to lifting those weights and lifting them heavy. Somewhere along the way, we lost track of the long, slow distance runs that build up long endurance and turn our bodies also into fat burning machines. So that is still something that I incorporate into my weekly workouts. So I did a 5-miler yesterday. It was slow. I'm out here on the hills at 7,500 feet, and most of the time I run on a treadmill in a gym, which actually feels a little easier than it does out here on the roads. And not only are they roads, they're gravel and dirt and they're rutted, and I really have to watch my steps so that I don't fall. So like I said, so I did that yesterday. So yesterday I killed it. I woke up today and I was so tired. I have just been dragging all day, so I definitely needed a rest and recovery day today so that my body can build back my energy stores and build the muscle that I'm so trying to grow in my body. And that is that's basically where I am today on this Monday check-in. I will do a nice walk later this evening just because, one, it helps me to get my step goal in, and two, I find evening walks so relaxing, especially just after that sun begins to go down a little bit. I still like to go out when it's light. I don't want to be out after dark out here where there's wolves and coyotes and things, but I do find those evening walks just to be a great way to end my day and then go in, get cleaned up for the night, and spend the rest of the evening with my husband. So I hope you enjoy these check-ins. I will make a point to do these weekly, and hope that you join me. And let me know where you are. I would love to hear in the comments section if any of these tips you found helpful or if you'd like to know more about them. Take care. Have a great week.